So over the past 2 weeks, I made a few different teams. One where we traded Mitch Marner, one where we traded John Tavares, both separately. This week I want to explore what a team would look like if we traded both, if both John Tavares and Mitch Marner were moved. I'm going to preface this by saying that I think this scenario is very unlikely that they are both moved, but I still want to play around with what a potential team could look like if John Tavares and Mitch Marner were both moved. I will say it again. Definitely unlikely. Possible? Maybe. Likely? Probably not. But wanted to go through that. So to start off on cap friendly, so I'm going to base the trades around two of the different trades I made. One, in my video talking about John Tavares and where I could see him going, I thought that Chicago would be a great potential place for him. I made the argument as to why the trade made sense for Toronto, why the trade made sense for Chicago, and why the trade makes sense for John Tavares. I'll link that video at the end of this one, so if you want to go check that one out, you can. I understand people might call me crazy and disagree with my logic on it, but I did make that argument. So in this, I started off by sending John Tavares over to Chicago for future considerations. I won't explain in full detail as to why I made the trade because I already have a complete video on that one specifically, so go check out that video. Number two, the second trade I made was Mitch Marner going to Nashville for UC Saros, a first-round pick in 2024 and a 2024 second-round pick. Something on those lines, a first, a second, and UC Saros. Maybe just a first in UC Saros, but something around UC Saros and a first-round pick for Mitch Marner. Nashville gets a superstar winger, and the Leafs get their star goaltender, a first-round pick, and extra cap space, and a secondary pick in this one as well. So ultimately, they create a lot of cap space through both these scenarios, and they get a starting goalie. UC Saros, the smallest goalie in the league, if I remember correctly. I think he's the only goalie who's under 6 feet tall. I think he's 5'11", but he's still a star goalie. In this scenario, both players extend. So UC Saros extends, Mitch Marner extends. I guess they could both not extend as well, and I think the trade still makes sense for both parties as well. So those are the two trades that I made here. So based on that, I just wanted to go over the roster and see what I created and what we could have. So it's creating a lot of cap flexibility here. So first, order of business, I really like Max Domi and I really like Tyler Bertuzzi, and I want both of them back. So I re-signed both of them to matching contracts, 5 years, $4.5 million a year. Max Domi got a pay raise. Bertuzzi got a pay decrease. It's more term, more years. I know there'll be people in the comments who'll be like, well, Domi, these were his points 2 years ago, and he only got $3 million for 1 year, so why is he going to get a pay raise? The cap is also going up. So Domi took less money on a 1-year deal, hoping because the cap was going to go up. So the cap has gone up substantially. It looks like it's going to go up to $88 million. And that can't be understated as to what this is going to do for contracts. And I think, that 1 year, $3 million a year was on the low side of things for him anyways. So I think this is very reasonable for both players. 5 years, $4.5 million. So that just gives us that really nice line that we have with Matthews in the playoffs. You get Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi. Domi can also be a third-line center. It just gives us a lot of flexibility. So I wanted to sign those guys first, and I also wanted to make sure that we upgraded our defense. So on defense, I added two guys that are new to us, and I re-extended one person. So we got Matt Roy, who is a defensive defenseman who's physical. He's with LA right now. He would be such a perfect complement to Morgan Rielly. I signed him for 6 years, $5.75 million. He might get $6 million. I see him going anywhere up to $6.5 million a year for 7 years. So we'll see what he ends up getting. But I put $5.75 million times 6 years. Maybe a bit low. We'll see how it ends up playing out. Talking about the cap going up to $88 million, I'm sure we're going to be shocked with some of the contracts that get signed. But I see Matt Roy being a very good complement to Morgan Rielly. On second pair, I added Chris Tanev for 2 years, $4.5 million. Tanev is just a beast. He works extremely hard. He is on the older side of things, so he gets a 2-year deal here. But I really like this top four. It sounds like the Leafs are interested in bringing back Joel Edmondson, so I extended him 2 years, $2.25 million a year. And I brought back Liljegren 4 years at $3 million a year. And then we still have Benoit, we still have Timmins, I get people who comment, be like, Benoit's a 7th defenseman. What's wrong with you? Benoit's such a good defensive defenseman, but he's only defensive defenseman. He's a black hole when it comes to offense. So is Edmondson, to be honest, but Edmondson's also huge. They add that physical aspect. But he's missing a whole element to the game to really cement him as a true top 6 defenseman, right? Like, if he's your number 5, I'm still happy with it, but like having this group of 6, you remove Timmins here, and you just say Morgan Rielly, Matt Roy, McCabe, Tanev, Edmondson, Liljegren, Benoit, I'm really happy with that 7. People are going to come in and out of the lineup. Benoit's probably going to still play almost every single game. I'm okay with it. The thing that we're missing here would be some sort of offense from the defense. Because we have Morgan Rielly who provides offensive, McCabe who provides a little bit, you have Liljegren who provides a little bit, Roy doesn't provide a ton, Tanev doesn't provide a ton, Edmondson doesn't provide any, Benoit doesn't provide any, Timmins does, so that's why I have Timmins here. So Timmins is to provide that offensive surge from this defense, and I hope he actually gets some sort of ice time. We have Niemela in the minors who could provide that as well. So that's the biggest thing I see here. I would be okay with trading Liljegren away and getting a guy who provides a bit more offense. My number 1 target would be Hronek. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, from Vancouver. I would offer a 1st-round pick and Liljegren for Hronek with Vancouver. That would be so great. And then we can get like a Matt Roy and Hronek, or Tanev and Hronek. I think that'd be great. But in this scenario, this is the defense that I constructed. I like it a lot. We're still missing some offense from here, but it's better than what we've had pretty much ever. In net, UC Saros, Joseph Wool. I'm really happy with that combo. I would extend UC Saros depending on how much money he wanted or how many years he wanted, but I would extend him as well. This defense core, this goaltending would be super good. And on forward, so obviously you got Burt and Domi. With Matthews, the big signing I made was Elias Lindholm, 7 years, $7 million. So we go from Tavares, who's making $11 million, to Lindholm, who's making $7 million. That $4 million really helps shape up the rest of the roster. Lindholm just had a down year. I still think he's going to get a lot on the free agent market, so 7 times 7. Obviously, Brad Treliving's very comfortable and knows Lindholm very well. Same with Tanev, coming from Calgary. And I think he would be a great slot in that position. I re-extended Nick Robertson for 2 years, $1.25 million, and Connor Dewar for $950,000 for 2 years. And I really like how this roster shapes up. I also signed Alex Wenberg for 3 years or 2 years at 4.75. Let me double check here. It was 2 years, 4.75. So when I look at this group of 23 players, it's really solid. We're over the cap by just under $1 million here, which is no problem. Timmins can go down. One of the forwards can go down. But Matthews, Bertuzzi, Domi, really like that line. Nyes, Lindholm, Nylander, really like that line. McMahon, Wenberg, Robertson, really like that line. This 4th line of Dewar, Kampf, and Yarncroke would be phenomenal. I really like what that brings. Holmberg as a spare, great. We would also have Fraser Minton, and we would also have Easton Cowan fighting in this mix too, who could easily make this team. I highly believe that one or both will make the team, but in this scenario, I didn't put them on the roster, but they could definitely make it. And a guy like Yarncroke or Kampf or Holmberg could be traded to make room for them. And then on defense, Rielly, Roy, McCabe, Tanev, Edmondson, Liljegren, Benoit, Timmins, Saros, Wool. This team looks so good. So if you remove Tavares and Marner, it just frees up so much ability to make just a phenomenally balanced team. Let's be honest here. I really like Tavares. I like what he brings. He's still providing $8 million worth of value. Unfortunately, he has $11 million cap hit. I believe he will remain a Toronto Maple Leaf. That is my prediction. Mitch Marner, superstar, stud talent, struggling a little bit in the playoffs, clearly. And when you're making $11 million a year, you got to produce, right? You look at what Draisaitl and McDavid are doing in the playoffs. It's like, yeah, that's what we want you guys to do. I really like Mitch Marner. I'm sad that he's probably going to go. I think he's the most likely target. But Tavares and Mitch Marner both have no movement clauses. So maybe my next video is what this team looks like if we keep Tavares and Marner and we run it back for the 400th time. That will be an interesting one to do. So that'll be my next video that I'll do. Brian the Leafs guy out of here. Until next Saturday.